Hello, welcome to another episode of Drinking with Comics. My name is Sean,
And I'm Mike.
and we're going to talk about some comics, drink some beer. First, I just want to say, rip David Lynch. I don't know that I can speak any more about that without bursting into tears, but it had to be said. So if I seem slightly off, still in my mourning period. Anyway, on to happier news. We have a tropical beer, a tropical IPA, which honestly sounds like a fucking disaster to me. I don't know about for you. Um,
I'm curious. I like fruits.
I had a Lagunitas little something something the other day. I think you had given it to me, and when you sent me the picture, what you had left, it wasn't in your
No, it wasn't. I'm
stash.
sad.
So I tried to, dude. I know I've drank that beer before.
Yeah,
It is I could not drink that beer. I had like maybe five swigs out of
really.
it. Yeah, oh, dude. And then when you look at it, it's a fucking wheat IPA. I'm like, it's exactly what it tastes like. It's two
Uh,
things that do not belong together. You know, it's like, what if we made some Oreos that were like enchilada Oreos? No, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. The wheat and
Wait a
IPA did not
minute.
work for me. Um,
Enchilada Oreos.
oh, don't no, 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 don't even contemplate.
Right mole sauce? I
Ugh.
mean,
So this is Lagunitas Island Beats Tropical IPA. Refreshing, juicy citrus notes. 5.0
citrus
alcohol by
notes.
volume. Their mascot is playing the bongos. Another thing to be suspicious of because,
I
bongos
like that
sound good.
I like their mascot's a dog.
Yeah.
I think he was like a real dog too. I knew
Yeah, it
someone
was.
that I
I
knew
forget the
someone who had a
story.
brother that worked there, and I guess they have dog insurance for their employees. So,
Yeah.
I mean, sounded like a great place to work. I was jealous.
I believe the same person told me that's if it's the person I'm thinking
Yeah,
of.
probably. So, ooh, that's hoppy.
I will say
Ooh,
the citrus mutes the hops.
it
Like it
is. It
start
does. It tastes more citrusy than hoppy. It's like that. It just pushes it over that edge of like hop to citrus. Yeah.
I'm curious if this is if they've added, let's see, here's what the can says. You know when the breeze is just right? That band playing way across the cove sounds like they're right next door. Same goes for these citrus flavors tasting like freshly squeezed pineapples, mango, and passion fruit. Only they're all notes
Ooh.
carried just by hops. Juicy and light, not bitter. These beats just hit different. So, okay, that was going to be my question. There are IPAs that add like naturally like fruit essences.
Okay.
But Lagunitas, they have a history of doing this where there's certain hops and you prepare them the right way and they have citrus notes. And I'll say, like, this is pretty good.
Yeah. It takes me to a nice warm beach off to the. You hear the ocean. There's a dog playing bongos. And it's not as cold as a witch's tit outside.
Hmm. um,
Ugh.
it's the first sip. It felt like I was going to get a bunch of hops, and they just died. Like the citrus just cut it. Now I don't taste. There's like an element of hops, but it's nothing that's like really upfront. So it's really blended well, and I like this idea of like, hey, let's kind of mute the insanity of the hops because there's just some beers with the hops where it's just like, dude, take it easy.
Yeah, this is to me it's kind of like I'm not a big hop guy, but like this is a good this makes me enjoy the hops, not like go like
Mm.
I must chug this fast or what I like about like a really strong IPA is like, well, I don't want to be drinking too much tonight, so if I just sip this IPA that's not very good, I will not drink the whole thing all at once. You know what I mean? Be
Yes, you
like,
know what the
oh,
problem with that is though that I found
you save money.
No, they get warm, and then as they get warmer, they taste worse and worse
Oh,
and
but see,
worse.
that just makes it last longer and longer and
Then
longer.
well, you have very good commitment powers because I just like with
Well,
that
that's the
something something I
dream.
just tossed it.
That's the dream. I can never really commit. I usually just go, okay, chug, and then start on my next one. But I'd like to think that's what I would do. Do
Yeah,
you think
this is
Machine
huh?
you think Machine Man would drink this? Is
I
this
think
up Machine
Machine
Man's
Man would.
alley?
I think he would drink pretty much anything. He talks about beer quite a bit, and I believe in one issue of Nextwave, Agents of Hate, they show him
Which we were
drinking, and
discussing today.
it's through a hose in his forehead. So, Nextwave, Agents of Hate is a
Agents of
comic book.
Hate.
Is a comic book that came out in 2006. Went 12 issues. It's there's basically six storylines, so each storyline was two issues. Um, Warren Ellis, Stuart Immonen, and Mike. I don't know. Like, talk to me about next week. We're both big fans.
Yes. I remember when this came out and just reading the first one, just being giddy
Yeah.
with excitement. It's a weird one because I don't think I've ever seen Warren Ellis do a comedy since or before.
Well, transmet transmetropolitan has elements of like comedic elements for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, there's jokes, but there's nothing in the line of like this was like reading like a. I realized it when I was looking at the art and some of it. Like I'm reading like a Tank Girl type comic. It's that
Yeah.
British Tank Girl type weird in your face action humor that's obscure and weird and digs into the depths of the Marvel universe. And that's something you don't really think of when you think of Warren Ellis. It's,
It's true.
the opposite. You think of, which is, what he's making fun of in this too. You know, his run on Stormfront and the Authority and stuff like that. It's, it's, it's always good. I mean,
Yeah.
his Castlevania series was amazing. I can't, he's one of those writers several years ago. Like if you'd see it, I'd pick it up because I knew it would be good, and it's usually 9 out of 10 times usually is. I don't can't even
Yeah.
think of
No.
the 10th time it wasn't.
It always is. I mean, and
Yeah,
this was his heyday. I feel like in 2006, like 2005, six, there was so much shit coming from him. He had this. He did launch New Universal, which was like a revamp of the New Universe for Marvel. He did that Iron Man series with Extremis that they based part of Iron Man 3 on.
yeah,
And then he had all the stuff from Avatar too. Like there was Doctor Sleepless, which I fucking loved, Gravel, which I fucking loved. Just he was on fire. I think Red came out right about that time, the one that they made into the
oh
movie with
yeah,
Bruce Willis. This though, you're right. I mean, it's complete levity. He said in an interview, he's like, I just basically took the Authority and like stripped out all the plot, all the character development, and just it's a giant piss take on the superhero genre, and it's delightful.
yeah. I love everything about it. I love the covers, the artwork, just the whole thing. It was like pure 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah, agreed. Uh, Definitely owes a bit of a debt. I feel like there's some Doom Patrol, like Grant Morrison Doom Patrol in here a little
Oh,
bit.
definitely. Like especially when you get to like the towards the end where you got all those weird heroes that show up
Yeah, and the
in the
splash
one
page.
issue.
It was
And
the
the,
second to last issue. Is just like reading the floppies that I bought back in the day. It's like you get this splash page, which he said later, like they did as a joke, but they did it so like in order to experience the whole thing, you'd actually have to buy six copies of the comic book to put them all together. And he says it in there, like there's a little bit of a fourth wall break here and there, like from
yeah,
not from the characters, but it's hard
you're
to
talking.
explain. Like. by
You're
the
talking about the
creators.
end where they're fighting, like it's like the 11th issue and it's coming to the end, and
Yes,
they're throwing all the crazy stuff that he had thought of, that you hear references like Monkey Wolverines and Elvis
yes.
Modocs, and I think I even skipped this page. I don't even remember seeing an Elvis Modoc when, yeah, I skipped a page and I still didn't miss anything because it just goes, it's like 10 pages of this ongoing hallway
Yep.
battle that is like the most magnificent battle in the world, kind of like how a side scroller
Yeah,
is the term.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh,
Uh,
shoot, what was the movie with the hammer? Old Boy,
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
he like
Yep.
did, yeah, it's like Old Boy, where he's just like they're fighting through this wave and wave of weird Cyclops dinosaurs, and there's little fun Marvel references and just even non-Marvel references, just like samurais and stuff.
It's funny reading this in the floppy because it's like splash page, and then there's 2 pages of ads. Splash page, two page ad. Splash page, 2 page ad. So, like really, Marvel really like. I mean, every after every splash page, there's like a splash page ad. It's a little bit egregious, but I almost wonder if he asked them to do that, like just to like accentuate kind of the critique of the medium. And this is like, in 2006, the ads in these are like, it's not just for other books, it's all like Magic the Gathering, World of Warcraft, Magical Star Sign. I mean, there's some Nissan, lots of car ads in comic books,
Yeah,
video games, Superman DVDs, Final Fantasy. It's crazy. It's like there are less ads now. I feel like when I pick up stuff by the big two, and I think the only ads I see anymore are for their stuff.
it in-house ads pretty much, I've
Yeah.
noticed. Yeah, um, you barely see like a car ad on the back of a.
Like this was the era where there were constantly these got milk ads with athletes with the fucking,
Yeah.
the milk mustache, which I was always just like, dude, who would I just can't picture people doing that. I mean, they must have been paying them really good money because I'm like, you look like
Well,
you
I
just
mean, if
walked out of
you
a
think about it, how much was that book when it came out?
two
Two
ninety
dollar,
nine.
$2.99. Now they're $4.99 because they don't have ads. So I mean,
Well, they would have been 4.99 even if they had ads. Let's face it.
they
It's been
probably
almost 20
would.
years.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I know Marvel got rid of they went to in-house ads sooner than DC because I remember doing an episode of this show in 2020 on New Year's Day at Atomic Basement, my former co-host Mike Wellman's shop in Long Beach when it opened. And I don't remember what he asked me to read, but it was a DC book, and I hadn't read one in a while. And I just went on a tirade about Snickers bars because I feel like there were like multiple Snickers ads in the book, and I was just like, it's 2020. Stop with the fucking bullshit advertising. And they
Man,
did.
look at
So
you inspiring the comic industry.
yeah. Um, so the members, Mike, who are the members of Next Wave?
Ooh. Oh man, I'm gonna find. There was a so my trade has the original pitch in it that he sent to Marvel, which
Oh,
was
nice.
neat. I'd say look it up because I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will read what the characters were.
Okay.
Um, all right, first we have
Rambo.
Monica Rambeau. Jesus, I saw the movie. I should know this. Monica Rambeau used to be known as Captain Marvel. She once ran the Avengers. She will tell you this a lot. An unlikely veteran of superhuman combat, wanting to do her bit for her country. She found herself leading this team. Aaron Stack used to be called Machine Man, but his name is now Aaron Stack, and it's none of your business to that he is weird, his robot brain. No, it is none of his business that he's wired his robot brain to be affected by alcohol. Elsa Bloodstone is the daughter of the near immortal monster hunter Ulysses Bloodstone, wears the same creepy gem that makes Her superhumanly resistant to harm, works in the family business, and tends to come off like Laura Croft's evil twin sister. The captain claims not to remember his real name. He's changed his career and seen him basically be every crap Marvel character called Captain something. Tabitha Smith used to be Boom Boom in the New Mutants and Meltdown in X-Force. She's a terrible kleptomaniac, and it's because of her light fingers that the Next Wave squad discovered that. Bump, 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 and then goes into how they found the blueprints and all that.
Hate is a highest anti-terrorist effort, and they're actually owned by the Beyond Corp. But all of this is just a front for a group called Silent that is a terror, which is an acronym, and I don't remember what it stands for. And I'm not going to look for it.
Essentially, Shield and
Like a
Hive.
terrorist shield, yes,
Yeah, well, it's the Shield. Yeah, because Dirk Anger is totally Nick Fury.
yes, 100%. But so it's basically they're a team put together by this company that's an anti-terrorist company that's really a terrorist organization in disguise. So
Yeah,
they're like pretending to be making weapons to fight terrorism when they really are making weapons to use them. And they make what they make is UWMDs, which is unusual weapons of mass destruction, which then we get into, well, they didn't make I can't say his name, Fing Fang
Bing
Foom,
Bang Boom.
which
Come on, they said it like 10 times, and the one time he
yeah.
shows up, Bing Bang Boom. Uh,
But you have a special relationship with Mr. Foom.
and this comic. So yeah, he was this figure right here, this little guy right here. I'm just gonna move him up here. This was my cake topper at my wedding,
Dirty
and
fucking cake.
yeah. Oh God, wasn't it? Um, but the selling point to my wife was that I had this statue came in. We just read. I was just reading Nextwave, and he's like, "Hey, how do you feel about having a dragon as a cake topper?" And she's like, "No," and I was like, "Well, what if he's wearing purple underpants?" And then she was like, "Go on."
That's amazing.
So if
I
you
can
see,
literally
because
picture her saying that.
it's covered in dust, but we made him a little tuxedo purple suit, and he's holding a little Amy, my wife here, and a little me right here, and yeah, he was our cake topper, and he was 100% our cake topper because of Next Wave. Like I would not have sold that to her if I had read Next Wave and went purple pants.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Interesting thing, I was looking at some of these characters because I was like, okay, I know the captain was made specifically by Ellis and Immonian for this book, but I was like, so who are the other, like, who's this Aaron Stack machine man? He was made by Jack Kirby in 1976 for a comic book based on 2001: A Space Odyssey.
yeah, ain't that screwed up?
Isn't it that I thought that was fucking crazy? It was uh, created by Kirby for 2001: A Space Odyssey #8, July '77. A comic written and drawn by Kirby featuring concepts based on the eponymous Stanley Kubrick feature film. I had no idea that there was a Marvel comic based on it. It doesn't surprise me hearing it, right? But I've never seen one of those in the wild.
It was funny, like there, it was one of those things back then they didn't really have a script to go off of. So they just kind of like hear what the story was about, kind of make it up as they went along, which is why you have Machine Man and a non-related. Like you read 2001, the comic, it's nothing related to the movie.
Oh, yeah, right, right.
Same with like the first Star Wars has that green rabbit in it because they didn't know, so it just kind of like
Yeah.
they worked it into the thing. I think there's a couple other ones that were like that. No, Micronauts wasn't one. 2001 was there. Logan's Run might have been different too.
That sounds right.
And I can't remember what the other one was, but it was there's a couple out there that were just like now wouldn't even fly, but back then they didn't care.
I really like this book. I love all like the Elvis Modocs are amazing. Um, when they reveal who's behind everything and you see him in the smoking jacket with the champagne flute, I literally am like almost in tears. I'm laughing so hard.
You know what I like about this? Like when I read this almost 20 years ago,
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah,
When I read this all those years ago, I didn't know that much about Marvel. Like I didn't know who Monica Rambeau was. I didn't know. I kind of knew who Machine Man was. I definitely didn't know who Boom Boom was. And Elisa, I think this is kind of like Elisa Bloodstone's first outing too.
yeah. I mean, it's not, but probably in like the modern age, I feel like this might be. Well, I could be wrong about that. I mean, now she's in that shitty Werewolf by Night book.
Yeah, she's everywhere now because this book definitely put her famous. And then yeah, Monica, I didn't even know to like I knew who she was after this because I was curious what she was like, but really didn't even get a vibe for her until I saw the Captain Marvel movie, obviously. And there's a couple other things in here that was like I did not know, like the Hate main ship, which is like a flying submarine
Yeah,
didn't even occur to me that it was a helicarrier when I read it
yeah,
originally because I didn't really know what a helicarrier was that much outside of what it was. I don't even think I even caught on that this was Shield the first time I read it because I wasn't that big of a. I was more of a DC guy back then.
right.
Outside of if it didn't happen in Ghost Rider, I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
That
That
doesn't
was my
surprise me.
Marvel attitude. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, Boom Boom I always liked because she was part of what was like the Exterminators for a while, where they were like when X Factor was the original X-Men, Scott Jean, Bobby, fucking Hank and Warren. They had their like at some point they ended up with them as like uh wards almost like the way like Robin was a ward of Bruce Wayne. They were like homeless. Well, they were Morlocks who then ended up hanging out like living with X Factor. Then later ended up being grafted into the X Factor. New Mutants and I'm sorry, New Mutants and X Force. But Boom Boom, it was like Boom Boom, Rusty Skids, Artie and Leech, and Richter maybe was like so. I
so
knew
so
her.
hold
It's
on.
just
Did you say Rusty Skids?
Rusty, comma Skids. That it was two. Rusty was a girl. Wait, I
Oh, they're
forget
two
which was
different
which.
characters
It's two
because
different
I thought
characters. Yeah,
that's
they were
that's
actually also in that Fallen Angels series in the '80s. All of them, and actually so was Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy, and then Monica Rambeau. Actually, my favorite era of the Avengers because I never really read it other than when I was a kid in the '80s. I'd pick it up occasionally. Was when she was in it. And it was all like D-level character. It was like her, Dr. Druid, Thor was there for a while, so he was like the only recognizable. Like you'd show people this book now, and they'd be like, "What? That's the Avengers? Where's Iron Man? Where's Cap? Where's
yeah.
whoever?" But it's like, so I knew her from that. But those were the only two I knew. This is one of my favorite jokes. Well, there's the issue where like the bargain basement Dormammu. It's like Rorkanu, the dread Rorkanu, Lord of the Dank Dimension, right? And they contact him and ask him to rent out the mindless ones, which are like these big clay guys. And he wants $100 and the Suicide Girls. Remember the Suicide Girls thing?
Yeah, that took me back.
And it's so funny because I just Suicide Girls. So they were like a thing for a minute where it was like I don't even
Yeah.
remember the mission statement. It was like scantily clad, tattooed women who basically it wasn't porn, but they were like risque or like almost
Oh, it was pin-up-y,
pin-uppy
tattoo-y.
stuff, and it was like they owned it. So it was like there wasn't
Yeah.
like some like seedy pornographer profiting off of it. It was like we own this, we put it out there, whatever.
Or the
It was,
CD pornographers that are profiting off this. Yeah.
yeah. But they get several mentions in this. But I love. There's this one of them explodes. One of these mindless ones explodes, and Boom Boom's like he shot his muck all over me. I think it's Machine Man is like, well, that's not the first time that's happened. It's so funny.
I don't
I
remember what
just
issue it was, but Tabby formed to like spelt out her name.
Yeah, and
and
it's
it said
wrong.
it's TABY, and it wasn't Captain or Machine Man was all like, "Hey, were you trying to spell your name?" She's like, "Yeah," and he was like, TABY. It's like, "Yeah, I told you I spelled out my name."
Yeah, they really play up with her. Like it was like one. She's like, "Stop your big words" or something. You know, I was raised in a trailer park.
Yeah.
Uh, it's. I mean, I actually almost wonder if some of this humor like they wouldn't even put it out there now. You know what I mean? Like I don't think any of it's that risque, but maybe
Um,
like
I thought some of it was still like, here it is almost 20 years later and still relevant, like
it's
boom
still
being on her
relevant for
phone all
sure.
the time. I feel like instead of that, it would have been a TikTok thing she was doing all the time. Like it didn't feel very out of date as say when I like reading Ultimate Spider-Man over from the beginning, where it's really kind of out of date, even though it's not compared to like maybe the original Spider-Man, which is super out of date. But it's a little, you know, big corporations and same shit we're dealing with now.
Yeah.
Um, and some of the stuff is like references are still recognizable. Um, like the cop, he was turning into a Gundam. I don't think I even caught that the first time around.
I didn't
Literally, a
know it was
robot
specifically a
samurai.
Gundam, but I knew it was something that it was obviously a reference.
Yeah, and like the Eternals, I don't think I would ever have gotten the Celestials calling
Oh,
Machine Man shit if I didn't see the Eternals movie, knew who they were.
yeah, that was great. Actually, I did. I was with the Celestials, and they basically they're like your shit. We're leaving you on Earth.
Turn around and we're looking at you. I don't want to see you be cry.
Yeah, I realized in reading this, I don't have issue 3.
Oh no.
There's a bunch of shit from that era where it was like I'm missing issues, but most of it is Avatar stuff, and I believe you explained to me at some point within the last like year or two that like your recollection of the way Avatar published, like some of those issues may have never even come out. Um,
Yeah.
because like Gravel, I think I'm missing 2 issues, and when I discovered that a couple of years ago, I was like, I don't see how that's possible at all. But
Oh, so you didn't get to reread the issue where the cop turns into the whole
well, he
finds the kitty
teased, but
cat.
when 4 starts, he's already like he comes out as a Gundam basically.
Yeah. But then you see like he's just like a super dick. Like throughout the first several pages, him going around the beat in that typical Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, Grant Morrison, where you're reintroduced to the town cop and he's a fucking asshole, and he's just beating up people for no reason, stealing their wallets, and trying to sleep with the girls. And then you get to the end of the series where Monica is like, "Oh, you're a police officer. Oh, look, the people in the community are here to help you."
Oh yeah,
And
they're all. Oh,
that,
okay, got it.
yeah, they're all like, "Yeah, we'll help you. Which do you want me to help you get in the ass, or do you want me to help you like
Yeah,
die first?" And that hits harder without that.
I actually did wonder about that. You can tell from the punchline if you've read enough comics, you can kind of see where it comes from, but I didn't know the specifics. So thank you. I
Yeah.
should be able to track that down at some point, just to complete it because that's going to bother me now. But it's are the trades readily available?
I think there was the single trades aren't available anymore. Then they did like a thicker one a couple years ago, and I think they did one recently, like another thicker one. It was all in one.
Okay.
I think one came out within the last at least 5 years, I want to say.
I'm
Um, so it might be lying around somewhere. If it's
okay.
out of print, then hey, this is what we're
Well,
doing. We're talking about out of print comics.
well, it's probably on Marvel Unlimited, and in fact, I guess maybe I'll brand this as what to read on Marvel Unlimited because I'll double
There you
check.
go.
Um, but
The
this
the
is
trade
definitely
has a lot of fun stuff.
it's really fun. I it's super light, but it's great
And there's
Warren Ellis. Um,
great art too. Like
yeah,
there's points when like I'm realizing like this could Jamie Hewlett's one of my favorite living artists right now.
Hmm.
You know, Gorillas, Tank Girl, all that stuff. And there's a lot of, I feel like if this was trying to be a little bit like that, like I got Tank Girl vibes off of this, just the way the humor and the art was. And then you get to like, what was issue was it where they're kind of stuck in these like alternate universes?
Yeah. Oh, with Forbush man from Not Brand Echh, I was like, oh my god, are you fuck? I had forgotten about that. That was amazing.
But as like the captain story is clearly the Sentry. And did you notice like Bloodstone was 100% Hellboy?
Oh, dude! So all the art changes and hers. It's like I even
Yeah,
checked like did Mignola like contribute, but no, it's Ammonian just evoking styles right that fit
yeah,
each character, and that was awesome. I'm glad you brought that up.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's like the art was like something I really appreciated this time. Well, you know, I liked it the first time around, but now I'm like realizing like, oh, I see
Yeah, there's
Jamie
nuances to
Hewlett
it.
inspired nuances, um, and you know, rips on like this A doesn't stand for France
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
the Captain America joke. Um, him making fun of other writers and stuff like that and artists and not even making fun of it. So, well, he was clearly making fun of Mark Millar in this because they're holding up a sign that Mark Millar eats
Blows
goats.
goats. I think. Well, it's obviously friendly. Uh,
Yeah,
But it's also this so that same issue. I think there's a thing early on where it's like 19. They reference Captain America, and it's like the day that he's like gets the serum, and they're like, "Oh, where's Cap? You know, we got to go show him to uh, the president." And they're like, "Oh, he's in the bathroom." And when he comes out, then like a Nazi spy goes in there with like a fucking big thing to like steal his urine out of the toilet to get the super soldier serum from him. So fucking weird. And I remembered the first time I was laughing at it, remembering how hard I laughed the first time I read it back in 2006. So that was pretty cool.
I enjoyed like you don't even see who got it either. Just
No, I
there's a
know. Well,
guy,
you
there's a
know later
captain.
because you see that character, but it's
Well,
like,
you see the character, but you don't know who he is
yeah,
outside of
exactly.
yeah. And there
Yeah,
was
the
another great.
four.
Oh, what was it? Hold on, I just had it. Is this one? Yeah. When they were fighting the upside down heroes that showed up before that Phobush man
Uh-huh.
showed up, and you know, and they were all upside down, and they're complaining about the ones that didn't show up because they were at a pride parade.
No, it was like the team that was called like the homosexuality, and it's like he'll be here,
Yeah,
or it was the character, and he's like he'll
but
be
you
here as soon
caught
as
it
the gay
was
pride parade ends in San Francisco.
you caught it was all the gay characters in comics at that time because it's Sun
Oh,
King,
okay.
which was Apollo, the Midnight Man,
Oh,
Polestar, which was North
North
Star, and
Star.
then oh, slightly creepy unnamed woman, which was the question, because she's.
Oh, okay.
I was like the homosexuality. I was like, oh, that's amazing. That's a good reference
That's
to those guys
that's pretty
in a
good.
not mean way, but you know,
No, no, it's a very enjoyable book. I would definitely recommend people
yeah.
look it up, Marvel Unlimited, or find the trades or whatever. The thing with those hardcovers, like they just did one
I don't
for
think they put this
J
in a hardcover.
the J.H. Williams. So a lot of those when they do those collections, they sell out and they're gone. Like
Yeah,
it's for like every time like Remender does those from some of his stuff from Giant Generator, like Fear Agent will get like a new collection as a hardcover and they're gone. And if you're not poised to buy it when it comes out, it's gone. And it happens with a lot of these collections. And so like with Ellis from the same era, he did a book called Desolation Jones that I fucking loved. And the first six issues are him and J.H. Williams III. They just put one out, and I immediately like
a nice oversized one too, which I thought was weird.
yeah, and
Like,
I got well, I
uh,
was gonna get it, and I was like hemming and hawing, but like Kirsten's like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, do me a favor, buy me this now because I don't know if it's gonna be gone. Like you can give it to me in March for my birthday, but buy it now because I don't know. There's been a couple Fear Agent, and there's been a couple other ones where it's like I see the announcement and I don't grab it day of, or like not day of. They don't sell out that fast, but they disappear very quickly.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's
Um,
it,
yeah, the Desolation Jones one is like I have the trade, so I don't know if I necessarily need it. And there's nothing new in it. It's just the first 6 issues. They didn't
well,
put issue
it's
7 or 8 because it's uncompleted.
Ellis said
Um,
the only reason that exists is because J.H. Williams wanted a hardcover copy of their arc for his shelf. So he just basically, talked to whoever he had to talk to get it. Like, hey, come on, release it as a hardcover. And so he
that
got one because
uh,
he just wanted one.
that 100% explains it because that is a very nice looking hardcover. It's
I'm looking forward to it.
oversized. Yeah, it's
It
like those black, white, and reds that I collect because they're just oversized, treasury sized um hardcover. Yeah, that okay. That explains it then. Yeah, I like it.
did you guys get that Desolation Jones at the shop?
Yeah, I saw it, and I didn't know it was even coming out till I saw it in my hand. I held it in my hand, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is cool." And I was tempted to buy it, but I decided against it.
I, yeah, I could see that. That's
Yeah,
one. I think of all his stuff from this era that we're talking about, that was another one I forgot to mention earlier when I rattle off all those titles. But
yeah, I know. It's because it's uncompleted. It's so good and sad that it's over.
well, so all of those are
Yeah,
because he had a thing. I remember
his
reading this and
computer.
I couldn't find. Yeah, he had all of his shit on a hard drive that like got a virus and died, and it was literally New Universal ended unfinished. Doctor Sleepless ended unfinished. Desolation Jones ended unfinished. Like a bunch of them did because he's like, oh, everything was on that hard drive. It's all gone. So he's
Yeah.
just like, I can try to recreate or I can just move on. Fuck it, I'm moving on, which is a shame. But Desolation Jones and Doctor Sleepless by far my favorite of it. He's probably my favorite writer. I mean, Morrison was for a time, but everything Ellis does is great, and I don't I don't take to everything Morrison does anymore. Like there's anything he's written in the last like 5 6 years, I haven't really followed.
Well, honestly, I think all like my top three was always Ennis, Morrison, and then Ellis in that order. And like, I don't think I've read a single book any of those three done in the last several years. Not like
And
I know Ennis has got a couple out there, but they're not as hitting as hard as they used to.
so he does. I have said the same thing where like Jimmy's Bastards and like there's just been certain things where I'm like, it's just him being Ennis. I'm very critical of what he does, where it just seems like it's like he's just kind of out Ennising Ennis. But I can definitely say Ribbon Queen was fabulous. I only read the first Red Team, I think it was called. It was like an elite cop force within the New York police. I really liked that. And the I forget what it was, the Long Road to Hell or the Long Walk from Hell or whatever. He's had a handful of books, but I don't buy everything he does because there's just certain things I see. I'm like, it's fine. I can skip that. Um,
It's no offense to him because he's so fucking good, but it's like
yeah.
you've read it already. Like
Well,
I
that's my
mean I
thing.
like you already hit the cream of the crop in the 90s and 80s and early 2000s, or not the 90s 80s but the early 2000s and late 90s. You were like firing, hits, and like it's not that like there was a time period he was just doing war comics because he likes to do
Yeah,
war comics, and
yeah,
then
pulp.
if you want to write that, that's awesome. But I'm not in it for war comics. That's
Yeah,
not the stuff that I was into. I mean, they were
right.
good, but they
Yeah, it's
weren't,
quality, but it's not my bag either. I
yeah.
read Rifle
I
Brigade, the
mean,
first one, and that I was like, I'm good.
I love Grant Morrison when he writes DC characters because he loves those characters and does a great job with those characters. But then when he's off doing something else, it's kind of tough for me to get into it because it's just not, excuse me, not DC characters, I guess.
Well,
Which
yeah, I
is
mean,
not to say that
yeah,
he does bad things, but
no,
also
not at all. But
he hasn't written anything in years lately, anyways, has he?
well, he did some like Klaus. It was like a barbarian Santa Claus thing. I
Oh,
didn't read it.
like that comes out like once a year for
Yeah,
Christmas.
he did. His Green Lantern. I read 2 issues and I was like so not interested in this at all.
Yeah,
Um, I the last thing. Nameless was to me, it's in his top three as far as I'm concerned. I thought that was great. 6 issues in 2014. That was amazing. And after that, like Annihilator, not great. Okay, not great. I do need to check, but like you gave me that multiversity trade. We should do that on here sometime because I do need. I had only read a couple issues of multiversity,
Yeah,
and I just kind of tapped out. I was like, I don't. I feel like this is so far over my
it's
head.
it is, but it's like the last thing he ever did, I think, for D. I was like, that was it for DC because it was kind of like tying up the whole, like 52 kind of ruined his whole
Yeah.
um thing. Yeah, his Batman run was amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. It's
Yeah,
so
and
fucking good.
even how much DC's editorial fucked it up at the end with the whole New 52 bullshit, kind of put a kibosh on that storyline.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, Final Crisis, his JLA run, like all of that stuff. Fucking Seven Soldiers,
That's another one
brilliant.
I wouldn't mind covering because
Oh, I'd
I
love to do that one.
I read that as it came out, and I just I don't know how I felt about. I need a distance to reread it. So we should definitely think about doing that too.
Especially now that Frankenstein's back in the highlight and The
Yeah.
Bride kind of got her start in that. And yeah.
Ellis had a book. I think it was Brian Hitch and Ellis did a year-long thing called Batman's Grave. Did you ever read that? I didn't read it.
I don't remember if I did or didn't, honestly.
I was thinking about that recently because that was. I remember I
I
was
don't know if I
going to
have
buy
that.
it. I was going to buy it when it started coming out monthly, and I didn't because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait and get it as like a trade or a hardcover or something. And then COVID and all this shit happened. I think it never got
Did
like
it finish?
it did, but I think it took a very long time for it to finish, and then
Okay.
by then it was off my radar, so I never read it.
Yeah.
But I am curious. Dude, his what did he did the not Stormwatch. He did that the Wildstorm revamp of the Wildstorm universe.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's outstanding. That's so
Is
fucking
it?
good. Oh God, it's so good. Like the last trade, like I felt like I kind of checked out a little bit, but it is oh dude, it's so good. I think he's my favorite of those guys because I there's just nothing he's done I've read is bad. Like I mean,
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying I shouldn't say that. What I mean to say is where Morrison or Ennis does stuff like you said that I'm like, I can skip that. I'm sure it's good, but it's just not my bag.
Yeah.
Ellis is always introducing me to new concepts. I think he's the one that for me hits every fucking time, no matter what.
Mhm. And like I mentioned earlier, like Castlevania, he wrote the
Yes.
Castlevania wrote TV series.
Yeah, so good.
Fucking phenomenal.
So
And
good.
it's
I need to
just
finish that. I've
so
never
good.
finished it.
And the oh, it's so good. Like even the second one, I think the new there's like a sequel to it that he's not involved in.
Yeah, Symphony or something like that.
Yeah, which I remember liking. I gotta rewatch it from the beginning because it was what 2 years ago when the last one came out. Um, uh, with that, and then you remember he did a GI Joe Resolute
Oh, did he do
series.
that?
Yeah,
I
that
don't know if
like
I knew
one
that.
shot movie thing where it's like also serious and like little 15-minute or little 5 or 6 minute story breaks because it's all like it was a bunch of shorts strung together. Yeah, he wrote that.
Is that the one you told me to watch that I've now still never watched? I'm realizing.
So there's two. There's Renegades, I think is the one I told you, which is like an actual
Okay.
TV series,
Okay.
which was the last GI Joe cartoon to come out, I believe. Which was kind of like an A-team thing that was very good. But he did something called Resolute, which was an online, they would do those little online cartoons like before Netflix was
Yeah.
online and YouTube things, and you can find it on YouTube. It's a probably like a 40-minute movie
Okay.
that kind of continues off where the TV show left off if the TV show went to a hard R.
Okay.
Not that it's a hard R, but it's for the TV show. Like,
Right.
you know,
Comparatively.
bullets are hitting people. There's a point where I remember there's a point where like Snake Eyes had to go do his thing, and Scar's like, "Oh, we should help Snake Eyes," and Duke just looks at Scar's like, "You need to choose who you're going with. Like, it's either me or him."
Oh wow.
And it's like one of those like, "Whoa, I don't expect that
Wow. I'll have
from
to look that up.
Duke." Yeah, it's like only like 40 minutes long. It's definitely on YouTube. I watched it recently. Um, Still holds up. It's just like watching an adult play with your toys. Like
Right. Well
you're
said.
you're watching Warren Ellis play with your toys, and like everyone's shows are serious, and like they go and hang out with the sub team. Like we got to talk to the kids, see how they fix the things with the computers, and questions that a cartoon and a comic raised are being answered. Like who
Okay.
killed Softmaster and why are we going to get him, and things like that. All in like 40 minutes. Like it's tied up everything, and yet
Huh.
answered. Yeah, but yeah, once again, Warren Ellis doing Warren Ellis good.
Yeah. Warren Ellis good, fire bad.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nextwave good. So I would definitely
Yes,
say check this out. Look it up on Marvel Unlimited. Find the trades. If you find the floppies, that's even better.
yeah.
If you're into floppies, but yeah,
I don't think they
we
go for incredibly too much because it
they would
wasn't a
not go
big
for it. No,
hit.
yeah, it was not.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, that's Next Wave, and this is Drinking with Comics, and I'm Sean.
and I'm Mike. Cheers.
Hi, I'm Sean. Join me and my friends every week for the Horror Vision, where we talk about horror movies.